Not for the board then.
That,
I'll forward it to you.
Just come August when I go to do it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna be like,
Thursday.
I was telling somebody today about that when I was in high school.
well, I'll be emailing you in August.
$65 an hour, back in 1971. I got an opportunity to go work at UPS. So I made $5 an hour. But, and I had, so I stayed at about 65 an hour. I did.
If you only do that.
She's on her way back.
You know, I got principles, I had to live up to it, you know.
How long were they around?
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
They were, okay.
Yeah, this was maybe 1971, 72, something like that.
I think when they really took off.
It was, you know, it was a wellness place in Illinois, it was one of those loaded truck type of things, I think, like 3 to 8 or
Yeah.
something, like 5 hours.
Just picking up.
Yeah, yeah, I think
Gotta, like you said, gotta have principles.
No, you don't want to have more summer.
The hair?
Yeah, then a week later.
6 weeks were longer than
Yeah, he was like the star, you know,
They changed the rules because they had.
pretty much.
If you do go to the office. But I've got to get. They say it's, but Julie's injury.
Yeah.
Jay, how many emails did you get about the lane change?
Well, it only went out to the, it's only 6 hours. That's all.
Yeah.
But that earlier, we were asking for, my God. Not as many, just one of those things that, like, you know, we need, like 30 seconds later, suddenly bang, bang, wait, that's me.
I thought it'd be a garage
No, there's very few that actually.
qualified.
Good. But it's like 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours.
Oh, yeah. End of the year.
No, that's nothing substantial. Grant reports. Yeah, I don't get that.
That's Bernie.
Call the meeting to order at 7:03. Stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda?
Second?
Any questions? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Need an approval to, a motion to approve the open session minutes from June 5th, 2017.
Motion to approve the agenda of the open session minutes of June 5th.
Second. Any questions? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We need a motion to approve the executive session minutes from June 5th, 2017.
Make a motion to approve the executive session minutes of June 5th, 2017.
Second.
Oops,
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
we're gonna have to table that.
I make a motion to table.
Make a motion to
Executive session
table the
minutes.
executive session minutes of June 5th, 2017.
Get on that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry about that. Community comments? None? Superintendent comments?
Okay, well, good evening, everybody. I thought I would start my comments with a follow-up. If you remember, 2 weeks ago, you approved a tentative field trip just in case students needed to travel out of state, as far as a Nipmuc makerspace project where they launched a weather balloon into the sky. It was a very, very successful launch, and I put a link in your packet, but we got considerable press coverage through the Milford Daily News, the Worcester Telegram, but also on NBC Boston. So I thought I'd show this quick snippet of what our students actually did.
Remember today.
Under sunny skies, Nipmuc Regional High School prepares for launch. These engineering students coming up with a plan to carry a small box 28,000 feet above central Massachusetts.
I think this is so much better than just textbook stuff.
Inside that box, several ping pong balls loaded with everyday objects. Physics students devising experiments, seeing how things like popcorn kernels react to the atmosphere.
We hope that because of the decrease in pressure and the temperature changes in space, that popcorn kernels will end up popping.
Inside another, a bouncy ball.
We bounced it before it went up, and by the time it comes back down, we're thinking that it's either going to be deformed or that the temperature is going to affect the insides of the ball so that it bounces less or it doesn't bounce at all.
But like many science experiments, this Thursday morning launch didn't go totally as planned.
Right now, it appears that we didn't have enough helium, so we're holding it for now.
The setback, minor for this project, which involved weeks of planning. Students not just focusing on science, but logistics, like crafting this device to make the balloon visible to authorities.
It basically just had to reflect on radar from any angle.
Finally, after the delay, the big moment. The balloon's travels tracked via GPS until it landed later in the day.
The kids felt like they were powered, that the learning was relevant, and that we're trying to make school more like life here.
The next step is for the students to actually retrieve the contents of the weather balloon, figure out if their experiments happened, and then do a series of write-ups and even a documentary to document what actually happened. In Upton, I'm meteorologist Michael Page, NBC Boston.
Thinking about
We're happy to say that, yes, it did land about 5-6 hours later, and it traveled all the way to Ipswich, is where Dave Quinn actually fished it out of somebody's backyard. we thought, okay, it's going to land in water, it's going to land in a tree. Dave had everything imaginable. He had hip waders, he had, ladders, it was crazy, canoes attached to his car, but we actually got lucky. So you actually think about that. It traveled probably as a crow flies about 70 miles. An amazing experience, and I also put in a background note a link to a follow-up piece that NBC Boston did that actually showed the GoPro video. I realized it went into the stratosphere, went about 12,000 miles up, and if you look at that footage, it's actually pretty amazing seeing, the inner cusp of space and the actual curvature of the Earth. So, hats off to the science department, to Rebecca Ide, and to Dave Quinn, and to the students. This is really what we are all about in this district. I know here at Nipmuc, we've taken a bold stand, and I think this is a preview of really the direction of our next strategic plan about making learning relevant and hands-on. And, we're going to have another presentation tonight that's totally targeted along those same exact lines. So very exciting work.
We'll give heads up to NBC to cover it.
My gut is I think Dave Quinn sent out just kind of a generalized press release.
And actually, Joe, I'll just jump in, since she's here, Beth Hennessy had a huge role in making the media connection.
Okay,
great. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you, Beth.
Yep, it's like an active PR campaign. It's fantastic for the school.
It really is. So very, very proud of that work. So I just wanted to give you a quick follow-up on that. Secondly, I also put in your background, this, in addition to being our last week of school, also marks a bit of a busy time to get some of our summer professional development and curriculum work rolling. I know Maureen Cohen, along with the curriculum assistants, have planned a full slate of PD activities, and she does a lot of half-day workshops during the course of the remainder of this week before we get into some of the July vacation time. But you can see I listed there, and there's also a link to our district's curriculum and PD website. A lot of the work that we've been immersed in vis-a-vis our district action plans, particularly focused around technology and the use of some specific apps, educational apps, and classroom management, and also learning management systems like Google Classroom, but also work around project-based learning, design thinking, and also supporting students with anxiety, kind of speaking to a lot of the thematic pieces we've done around social emotional learning. So we're really happy to be able to offer that. And if you go through a lot of the specific offerings, a lot of them are workshops are being done internally. So it's our folks working practitioner to practitioner. And then last but not least, you do have in your packet, which will probably be our last year-to-date report for expenditures for our FY17 budget. Jay, is there any particular line or lines that you'd like to highlight?
Sure, we could talk about a little bit of the building stuff because we're going to talk about it a little bit later. If you go to page 7 on the printout, if you have it, the big areas that we've had concerns about, one of them is very positive: maintenance of grounds, maintenance of fields, and snow and ice. The maintenance of grounds and fields is actually a little bit over budget in almost all areas, but the snow and ice we did really well. So when you put it all together, we've got a fair amount of money left over in those accounts. Offsetting that, maintenance of buildings, we had several issues during the course of this year that we had to address. Boiler issues, water issues, you name it. We had just about everything you can imagine. So in total, we're about 15,000 overdrawn on those accounts. There's a lot more to come that bills have not come in yet. So that's been kind of the offset that we've had. Other than that, everything is finished approximately where we anticipate they're going to finish. So that's a good sign. The other big one that's considerably over budget, though, that's been a challenge this year is the out-of-district tuition, which you'd find on probably the last page. Let me just see it here. Yeah, it's on page 10. So we've got several challenges there. Our non-public school out-of-district tuition is about $250,000 over what we budgeted. So that's something that we really have to work on, but it's one of those things that we don't have a lot of control over. That's about it. All in all, though, I mean, putting all that all together, I think we're actually going to be in good shape when we finish up the year. We're not going to finish, anything horrible. I think we're going to have money left over. We've got some projects we're going to talk about later in the evening, things that we'd like to address that we've put off that need to get addressed. That's it. Any questions? Any questions?
Okay, thank you.
Subcommittee updates. Diane Duncan would typically do the Golden Apple Award for us.
But we have Diane's full comprehensive report, and she's a very thorough woman. But we're very pleased once again to honor somebody who is just an outstanding educator, an outstanding person, somebody who's given many years, I believe 22 years, to the regional school district, and is just exemplary in every facet of her practice. So we're really pleased to award our second Golden Apple Award, and I'll turn things over to Lee.
Right. So on behalf of Diane Duncan and the Golden Apple Subcommittee, I'm happy to be able to present the Golden Apple Award once again for the 4th time. We're really pleased that we had a great parental and student representation in nominating individuals in this district for this award. 40 nominations came in this year. And despite being the end of the year when it's very busy for many of us, people still took the time to recognize some of the good things that are being done by some of the magnificent staff in this district. So we're very excited about that. Tonight specifically, we're taking the opportunity to honor an educator who's put her stamp of excellence on so many students. She received multiple nominations for this award, but it was the way in which her nominators spoke about her and their testimonials that was really moving to our subcommittee. Admittedly, the decision wasn't an easy one because we received many heartfelt words of praise from more than 35 Mercy staff members, which is a very positive message. So for tonight's award recipient, first, she has served as a first grade teacher in the district since 1995. Her nominators applauded her ongoing efforts with their students, speaking specifically about the warmth, positivity, and humor that she brings to her job each day, no matter what was happening in her own busy life. She's one of those people whose positive reputation precedes her, no matter where she goes. Before we identify her by name, we have some choice quotes from the nominators that I'll read next. So one nominator said, "This teacher has completely changed my son's attitude towards school. Once reluctant to go to school, fast forward a year, and now we hear stories of positive things that have happened each day, making him look forward to his time in school. It's a total transformation, and we are so grateful." Another parent responded, "She understands my child and has brought out his funny, silly, and creative side, allowing him to be himself and enjoy school, enjoy learning. She actually makes learning fun by using laughter. She isn't afraid to act silly with the kids. We hear all kinds of stories of how she is the silliest first grade teacher in town." In this teacher's classroom, another parent says, "Kids congratulate each other on successes and cheer each other on. Some evenings we find our son thinking of ways to try to give one of his classmates kudos. She fosters a community of learning and a community of kindness," another parent said. "She has incredibly high expectations of her students, but uses a lot of love and humor to help them grow academically and emotionally." Another respondent said, "She assisted our family during a difficult time in the fall. I credit her with being a key player in his getting through this, a constant support system for our son, contacting us daily to let us know how he was doing. She went well above and beyond call of duty, and for this we are indebted. She's a tremendous role model for all of her students, and we see her impact on a regular basis. He loves school and carries his lessons and objectives with him." So without, I think many of those statements speak for themselves. This classroom sounds like a fun place to learn. It makes me want to go back to school. So without further ado, it is great pleasure that I award the fourth Golden Apple Award to Clough School's very own Mrs. Christine Bebo, and extend a genuine word of thanks to all of you. Please come forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a very honored and surprise, so thank you. No speech, right? Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very, very well
Those are
deserved.
really nice quotes and were very sweet.
Very well deserved.
Thank you.
I can't say enough positive things about the difference that you make. And this award is all about recognizing educators that go above and beyond and make a difference. You've made a difference literally in hundreds, maybe even thousands of kids' lives. And I appreciate it, and I know Jan appreciates it. And you bring so much to our community, so thank
Very
you.
nice, it was a surprising comments.
And I just want to say, as a former colleague of Christine's, I worked with her for 12 years teaching, I know firsthand the incredible, phenomenal teacher she is. And as her administrator, I couldn't be any prouder. She's my unsung hero. She doesn't realize how incredible she is and the impact she has on her kids every day. So I am so happy, so honored that you get to be recognized for what you do every day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mendon-Upton is very fortunate to have such dedicated
Absolutely.
teachers supporting our and caring for our students every day. The negotiations subcommittee, we met 2 weeks ago. approximately 2 weeks ago.
I want to say that sounds about right. Yeah, we could go Thursday.
Yep, I think so. We continue to work on coming to a resolution for the contract negotiations, and once that has been finalized, we'll be making that public.
Sure, and we'll have an update in executive session.
Excellent. Old business.
There is no old business.
Excellent. And moving on to new business.
So I alluded to something that we had very recently back on Tuesday, June 6th, so almost about a couple weeks ago, where we held our first ever financial wellness fair for all of the sophomores and juniors. And we have some students on hand. We have Beth Hennessy, who is our career and community coordinator, and Ryan Cody, who is a business education teacher. And they're going to walk us through this experience, which I think was a really valuable learning experience for our kids. So I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you for having us here tonight. I'm here with my colleague Ryan and his students from his personal finance class. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what happened, but just to bring you up to speed on how it came to be, we received a $5,000 grant from the state treasurer's office from the state for the financial innovation program. And we're really fortunate to be able to do that. And many schools that have offered this in the past call their fairs a reality check or a reality fair. And we had a steering committee that involved the students, and they felt that our goal here is wellness all around. And so our fair should be called the Financial Wellness Fair. And so that's how we came to have our Financial Wellness Fair. And I approached Ryan about working with his personal finance students to get some authentic experience. So again, to bring the classroom experiences to a real life context. So in this case, it was the financial lessons, but also being a member of a steering committee. So we, as part of the grant, we reached out to the community to be able to receive the grant. We had to have some financial institutions on board. We had to show that we had faculty buy-in and that we had a structure that we were going to offer that. So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about your students and how it relates to their class.
We knew it would be a lot of work. I think it was eye-opening for you guys as a junior and a freshman to try and figure out how much planning really went into a fair like this. It was an incredible amount of work. I think you guys are better for it and realize, planning is of the utmost importance.
So Ryan, do you want to tell us a little bit about what it meant to be on the steering committee? Ryan. Nate, sorry, I'm looking at Nate. Say it right.
I thought it was a really good experience from a different point of view, instead of being a student, usually going through like different activities, but it was different being able to set up and actually participate, actually be able to control some stuff.
So as a member of the committee, they met twice with two bank vice presidents that sat on the committee, some faculty, and then myself. And as part of the committee experience, they had to give their opinion. They had to take responsibility for a portion of the whole function. And they had to then, when they came back to the committee, to report out on their progress on their things, just as you would. And they received minutes, as the whole committee did, and updates, and had action items that were assigned to them. So I don't know, maybe Reem, you can tell us a little bit about what's happening in the packet that we've given to you and how it came to be.
So each student had to prepare some basic things. So in their math classes, they completed a W-4 form, and they also had to fill out an employment eligibility verification packet. They also had to take a survey online to determine which career they wanted, so we could give them a starting salary for their fair.
So we actually had a record, I think, turn out for the respondents for the career. So they were given the 16 career clusters. They were asked to pick a career cluster that they thought that they might be interested in post-high school, and also what level of educational attainment they thought they might have. And then we used a spreadsheet to match all the students with a desired career. So in front of you, Tony Richardson, who's a member of our committee but isn't here just yet, gave us permission to use his, but you can see if you look where Nate's going to tell you on the right-hand side of your packet. You want to tell a little bit about what's there?
So one of the pages that's going to be on the right-hand side is the instructions for the students. It basically shows the goals and the tasks on how you should go through the financial fair. And then another piece is the employee information. So it gives a student a occupation based on their W-4 form and I-9 form. And it also gives them a gross annual salary and this was Tony's. He was an event planner and made $50,000. And then also another page that's on the very back is a graph that allows you to calculate with all the numbers that you've been through on the financial fair.
So it's on the back side of your financial packet. So each student received an individualized packet with the career that they'd selected and all their financials, a pay stub with all their deductions and whatnot. And then thanks to the 50 or so volunteers from the community, including parents, including Ms. Kelly here, and also lots of help from everyone from Sundin Furniture to represent the housing booth, Paul Linsky from the Ed Foundation, also many folks from Charles River, Dean Bank, Milford National, and also Unibank were there, represented insurance companies. So there are about 20 different booths which are represented by the back side of that spending plan. And the students had to visit all the booths and come up with a monthly budget based on their assigned career and their monthly net income. So in your packet, we did send you some of the comments from the students. It was a very eye-opening experience for the students. A lot of comments about they're surprised about how their parents afford their vacations annually, given how tight it is to budget, and also a lot of things about that they plan on doing differently as a result. This is a sustainable event. We did receive the $5,000 grant initially, but we can apply by July 17th for a sustainable grant that will give us $2,500 to run the fair again next year. We spent a lot of our money this year on student designed signage, including an AP Art student designed our logo, which you can see on your loan payment calculator that's inside. This is the logo that we had designed. And also a lot of purchases that we can use as a district as well. For example, 30 easels and tablecloths and things like that. So all in all, it was a great experience. Feedback from the students, 74% of the students rated it good to excellent as an event. The 3 favorite topics included buying goods and services, saving, and earning income. But many students did note that learning about student loans and community service, and then students were able to either a lot of them on the salary for donation or choose to donate at a certain amount of time monthly for community service. And 73% of them said that they were likely to, extremely likely to use the information needed. So all in all, I think it's a good feedback.
Fantastic. Good idea.
So there were a lot of, you have samples in there of a lot of the things that students received when they got through as far as information. And students, you want to talk about this?
So these students received a phone wallet that you put on the back of your phone. It sticks to the back and it can hold like a couple credit cards, and it has the Nipmuc Regional High School logo across the back.
The students really enjoyed it.
So every student who filled out their career survey was rewarded with a phone wallet. And then each student, the banks and other community members, everything from dentists to banks to a lot of different folks in the community did donate things like for when you attend any conference, you should get some swag, right? And so they did have lots of things to represent. They were picking dental insurance, so they had toothpaste, nutrition and safety, so they had sunscreen, and they had lots of things, and they all walked away with a bag as well. And included in that is some really great financial information taking charge of your credit. This is an online thing. All of our students, when they're sophomores through 21st century, do complete the Ever5 Financial Literacy Program. So this was a nice building block in that.
This looks like a phenomenal fair for the kids. You guys enjoyed it?
Yeah.
And you learned a lot from putting, because you guys put it together with some other volunteers and classmates.
Hoping to do it next year.
The folks in the community overwhelmingly asked when they could come back again and couldn't comment enough about how polite and engaging our students were. So we should be proud.
I'm sorry, you may have said how many students were involved?
All of the sophomore and junior class, so just over 300 students. So we brought the sophomores in first. They got a little orientation in tone setting in the auditorium for about 10 or 15 minutes. Then they made their way to the HR desk in the gymnasium where the students distributed their HR packets with all this information in it, and then they made their way around the building.
How many got the wallets? How many filled out the?
228 students.
Okay. That's really good.
And all the faculty received a wallet as well as our volunteers. And now you.
Thank you.
Hats off to all of you guys.
Yeah, they did a great job.
A couple things. First, the connections with the community, with our parents, with the local businesses. That is super powerful. And secondly, just the nature of the programming. I've been an educator now with 28 years. If I could have a quarter for every time somebody has said to me, kids today, they don't know how to balance checkbooks. They don't know how to fill out a credit app. They don't know what their credit rating's all about. Okay, there might be some truth to that, but the fact that you are teaching these lifelong pragmatic skills is remarkably powerful.
And hats off to the faculty as well, because each time we've had one of our conferences, they've offered financial literacy programming. When we did our March conference, the number one requested topic on what do all students need to know is how to do my taxes.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Not a fan.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next item is the MURSD summer maintenance projects.
Okay, so you should have in your packet a short one-page handout that Jay is prepared to speak to regarding some summer projects, which the district is planning on commencing. So if you could speak to those, Jay.
Sure. So, yeah, it's just a very short list. There are some things that need to get done on the facilities that we have put off for a long time, and typically at the end of every year, if we have money left over, this is how we kind of take care of some of these capital needs by addressing them short and sweet. So I'll go through the list very quickly. When it says Nipmuc server room air conditioner, this is one that we didn't really have a big option. The server in this building is in an air conditioned room, otherwise the servers overheat. These particular servers control the internet and phone systems in 3 of our 4 buildings. So it's important that we keep the stuff running. That cost that you see there is probably going to be a little bit more than that, because as we got into it, we found out we had to move the entire server to another location because they have to actually bring something in to hoist the new unit in right above where the current rack is. So there's going to be a little bit of cost in relocating and bringing it back. So that's the first thing, and that project has already started. I believe they're actually coming Wednesday to start the work. We had to open up a wall to run new piping. It's a fairly extensive job. I believe the server room, this particular server room, is down in the basement or on the first floor. So it's the first floor in the basement. That's what we call it.
First floor.
First floor, the first floor. The bleachers in the gymnasium here at Nipmuc, they are automatic. They are motorized. They open and close. They open and close quite a bit. There's a lot of wear and tear on them. We need to keep them up to code. We need to keep them functioning. We need to keep them working. And that's the quote from that. It's from a company called Hussey, which is one of the few companies that does that kind of work. I believe they're coming to do that sometime in mid-July because they're so busy. You see a lawnmower on there. As you know, we have a lot of fields at this building here, and the mower that we had was almost 20 years old. was going to cost about $5,000 to fix. It seems like it's not worth spending $5,000 on a 20-year-old mower. So that's been replaced. The next item, the district maintenance pickup truck. That's a smaller pickup truck. If you remember, we purchased a large truck about 2 years ago, a big F-250 that we used to haul some of the heavy equipment around, the landscape trailer, the tractors we have. You'll see me driving it at Memorial Day with all the paraded drum equipment. That's sort of a utility vehicle. This is a smaller pickup for a lot of the day-to-day stuff. The truck that we currently have is a 2006 Dodge Dakota with about 140,000 miles on it. It won't pass inspection anymore. So we need to replace that. Now, when we buy a truck like this, we buy off the state contract through a dealer in Marlboro. So it's a fairly good price. This is for an F-250, four-wheel drive. So that's something we'd like to address. Exterior doors at Misco Hill. This covers the doors that go around from the back of the building by the football field, around by the superintendent's office, and up to the daycare center. If you ever notice, as an example, the door that goes in the superintendent's office, it takes two people and a really hard tug to get it to actually open, and then it doesn't close. Those doors, the casings are all rusted out. Again, they're from 1960 when the building was built. So we need to get those replaced. We're not sure yet. That was the quote to do them all, but then I was told that there was even more work involved, and I basically instructed Ken, who's kind of coordinates this, that's how much money he's got. So if it means we have to drop a door or two off because something else is more than we thought, that's what we're going to do. The canopies in the front, so not the carports, but you know, the entranceway, you've got those little covers that come out. The wood is rotting away on those things, and rather than replace the wood and try and paint it and keep it up, we're going to side it with some, like an aluminum type siding. We had 3 quotes on that. The highest was $28,000. This was the lowest. So that's something we'd like to address. The band room at Misco Hill has been using folding chairs. I don't see any in here, but it's really difficult for them to perform on those. We got a really good price on getting new chairs for there. And then the last thing you see there is a 3-way valve on the boiler at Clough. So we have used considerably more gas. If you go back to the year-to-date reports, you'll see that our gas account was over by about $15,000. We're using more gas there than anywhere else, and we think it's because the valve is stuck open, and we need to replace it. So we don't have a price on that yet, but we're expecting it to come in around $7,000 or $8,000. We had a similar issue here at Nipmuc 2 years ago. We reduced our gas usage by probably 30% by replacing that valve. So it's definitely going to pay for itself within a year, but it's something we need to make a capital investment in. We'll also make the heat work better, and I think Mrs. Gallagher will tell you we've had some challenges with the heat over there on various days. Sometimes it's too hot, sometimes it's too cold. It's like Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. It's never quite right, though. All this stuff totals up to about $122,000. I've given you 2 sources of funding. The savings on snow and sand alone, which is $106,000, and the health insurance deductible. As you know, we pay the deductible portion of health insurance. We budget 75% of our total liability. We typically come in around 65%, but there needs to be some leeway there in case we have a high hit year. But it looks like we're going to have about $26,000 left. So it comes out about $10,000 more than we actually have for cost, but we haven't priced out that 3-way valve yet. There's probably a couple other variables. So those are the projects we're going to undertake this summer, assuming that you guys are okay with all of them. Like I said, a couple of them, unfortunately, I would love to tell you that you could say no to, but you can't, because we need the server, we need the phones. I think we need the internet, right? We need the internet, right? Since it was invented, it's an important thing. So that's the projects we're working on this summer. Of the list of capital projects, as you know, it's about $6 million worth when you add it all up, things like carpeting in rooms. And as Joe likes to say all the time, we're 1 flush away from having a problem at Misco Hill with the leach field. We're going to have to start to address these things one by one, but those are the big things. These are the little things that we think we can take off a year at a time, depending on how we finish up. Is there any questions?
I have no doubt you have complete control of the numbers. Do these numbers match up between
Yes.
the snow and sand?
Yes.
All right, I trust you.
When you look on that one, you see that they're combined with the fields and grounds. So we went over into fields and grounds, which is why it's about $88,000.
Yeah, okay.
Snow and sand alone, that was the savings. We had a great year, you know, we try to budget for snow and sand, and, you know, sometimes we've gone over, sometimes we go over. We've had 2 really good years where it really didn't snow much at all. And I'm always telling Ken, you know, 2 inches is, don't plow it, we don't need to, it'll melt. He doesn't listen, but. I'm confident that we can tackle all these projects and still be in good financial shape at the end of this fiscal year.
Sounds great.
Any correspondence?
We have no correspondence.
That doesn't need a vote.
It typically has not.
Okay.
Just making us aware, right?
Yes.
Good one.
Other matters not anticipated by the committee within 48 hours of the posted meeting.
I just wanted to mention something. I was attending the International Fair for 7th grade. I thought that was a very successful event. The kids were very excited about it. It's outside on the track. Got the ability to show off some dancing and some food, and it was really kind of a joyous affair. I didn't expect it to be so elaborate, but the kids really took to it with gusto.
And it was a new event too.
Yeah, it was a brand new event.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd mention that because it was actually, I thought it was pretty successful.
Yeah.
And so my kids especially put a lot of work into that. So it was worth a little bit of time, I guess, but it was well done.
Future agenda items, the one-to-one learning evaluation presentation on August 21st. Will be coming up. We need to make a motion to roll call. Do we end the session? Right?
Motion.
All right,
So we need to make a motion.
I make a motion that we adjourn via roll call to executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21, subsection A, exemption number 3, to discuss strategy with respect to the successor agreement to the teachers' collective bargaining agreement, because doing so in open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the committee. The committee will not return to open session.
Second?
Roll call.
Joseph Scalia, aye.
Tana Jango, aye.
Lee Martin, aye.
Phil Sutter, aye.
Sean Nicholson, aye.
The meeting is adjourned at